Hi guys, how you doing? This is Benjamin Vigil, and this is another episode of the Montes Vigil Family Forum. And today I want to talk about something fun. A few years ago, it became known that the Vigils of New Mexico were direct descendants of Charlemagne or Charles the Great. And this is an article from the Las Cruces Sun News about the subject. Now, this came out in June 15th of 2019, so it's been a few years. Wow, it's been almost 5 years since this came out. Um, but let's go ahead and read the article. It says, "Is your last name Vigil? You're likely a descendant of European Emperor Charlemagne." Um, not so. No need to look to supermarket tabloids for a dose of trivia about the royals. How's this for royal trivia? New Mexico is loaded with people who can trace their lineage to the European Emperor Charlemagne, as well as many other Vigils, all people that are related to Vigils all over the United States. According to Henrietta Christmas, president of the New Mexico Genealogical Society, people in New Mexico who have the surname Vigil most likely have a common ancestor who is a descendant of Charlemagne. There is a Facebook page called the New Mexico Genealogical Society. I'm not sure if they're the same organization, but I go there a lot for a lot of information about about different families in New Mexico and just kind of the family history of the state. That makes these New Mexicans descendants of a man who is credited with uniting most of Western and Central Europe under the Roman Catholic Church, and who was himself declared the Holy Roman Emperor during the early Middle Ages by Pope Leo III. So, very important guy. The Genealogical Society announced a link last week, and this was back in 2019, like I said. While scouring the archives of Spain and Mexico to learn more about the Vigil family genealogy, researchers came across information indicating that one of those ancestors was a descendant of Charlemagne, said Jose Antonio Esquibel, one of the New Mexico genealogical researchers. And I know that Brent Alexander Cruz wrote a book a few years ago. As a matter of fact, he came out with another book concerning this subject. And I believe he's a researcher that actually was able to trace or find the actual link and the lineage all the way up to Charlemagne. I don't know why they don't mention him in this article. I'm not sure why, but anyway, Brent Alexander Cruz, if you were ever able to get a hold of him or get in touch with him or buy his book, I would highly recommend it. The research, which began in the 1950s, was continued into the 1990s by several researchers, including myself, in order to extend the genealogy of the Vigil family of New Mexico into Europe. The Vigil family name was just one of many we were looking into because there are so many descendants of that family in New Mexico, which is true. I mean, pretty much everybody, I mean, everybody knows a Vigil in New Mexico. Thank Juan Montes Vigil, the common ancestor and descendant of Charlemagne, for the New Mexico connection. Vigil was a native of Vega de Poxa, I guess my Spanish is lousy, in the region of Asturias in northern Spain. In 1611, he traveled to Mexico City and married Catalina de Herrera Cantalana. I believe they're talking about Juan Montes Vigil II. They had a son also named Juan Montes Vigil, who would be Juan Montes Vigil III, who later settled in Zacatecas, Mexico. He in turn fathered a son named Francisco Montes Vigil. In 1665, Francisco traveled north in what is now New Mexico as a settler, along with his wife, Maria Jimenez de Enciso, and their 5 children. And I believe there were 5 more children as well that they had once they got up there. Francisco and Maria established the Vigil family of New Mexico, Escobar said. That Vigil connection ties the New World to the Old World, Christmas said. Thousands of people in New Mexico are in the line of descent, and the Vigil surname is the first ancestor of Hispanics in the United States to be approved by the Order of the Crown of Charlemagne, a lineage society whose mission, in part, is to collect and preserve documents, manuscripts, relics, records, and traditions relating to Emperor Charlemagne and his successors. Membership in the order, which is by invitation only, requires a proof of descent and a $775 application fee. Now, I think there's a few people in the Facebook page, Montes Vigil Family Forum. I believe there's a couple people that actually did this. And I guess I think they got a certificate or a plaque of some type. But anyway, like I said, there are people that have done it. I have not done it. I don't know if I will. Perhaps, maybe in the future. Robert D. Martinez, state historian of New Mexico, said it's historically and genealogically significant that the Order of the Crown of Charlemagne has recognized Juan Montes Vigil, the ancestor of many New Mexicans and Mexicans, as a gateway ancestor to Charlemagne. Francisco Montes Vigil was a true colonial of the Spanish Empire, Martinez said in a news release. He was born in the New World and lived, married, and fathered children in places such as Zacatecas, Aguascalientes in what is today Mexico. For those Vigil descendants of Charlemagne now armed with this information about their royal lineage, a little perspective is in order. So here's the perspective, and I'll just say it in short. Charlemagne had a lot of kids, and it's pretty well understood that most people in the United States and in Europe have some type of relation to him. Okay. So it's very likely that your neighbor across the street, if they were to look in their family lineage somehow, some way, they would probably see some type of link to Charlemagne, just like us. So that part isn't that special. But what is special is we can actually trace it. So it's just kind of a great thing to understand. Now, one thing I was going to do when I first was going to do this video, I was going to go to my ancestry family tree and kind of go on up, from my, Francisco Montes Vigil on up to Charlemagne. But I found that to be quite difficult and time consuming because I had to kind of retrace my steps. And there's a lot of levels there between Francisco Montes Vigil and Charlemagne. But thankfully, I believe a Mr. Sullivan in my Montes Vigil Facebook page, Montes Vigil Family Forum Facebook page, was able to come up with this. Now, I don't know if he made it or if he got it from somewhere or somebody made this. I'm not exactly sure, but thank you, Mr. Sullivan, for providing this. And what it does is it provides the lineage from Francisco Montes Vigil, right here, Captain Francisco Montes Vigil. Yeah, Andrew Sullivan on the Facebook page. If you look him up, be sure to thank him very much for this. It shows, if you go across, the lineage of Francisco Montes Vigil going all the way. Let me see if I can find. Here we go. All the way to Charlemagne. Charlemagne, Holy Roman Emperor. Okay. Now he lived between 748 and 814. I guess back then, that's a pretty long life. I've heard some different things that, and then it looks like, it looks like for Andrew here, it just has some additional information. But anyway, this Lothar the Second, King of Lorraine, and then Louis the First, the Pious, Holy Roman Emperor, that was Charlemagne's father. But it just kind of goes through a bunch of information here. And boy, I'm glad he did it because I really was not looking forward to going through my entire family tree and trying to figure it out. So thank you very much. But this is a great find, and thank you very much. And it looks great. I mean, if you really see it, they got the computer generated, I'm sure AI generated pictures up here. But yeah, it kind of goes through the entire lineage. If you go all from left to right, then the second level, and then to the third level. Very interesting. But anyways, guys, I hope this is interesting to you. If you do have the Vigil surname somewhere in your family, your direct descendant of Francisco Montes Vigil, then you are also a direct descendant of Charlemagne Charles the Great. Pretty cool, huh? All right, guys. Well, hopefully that helps you out a little bit. Definitely some food for thought. Certainly something you can bring up to friends and a little bit of trivia. Be sure to go to the Facebook page and you'll be able to download this very document right here. And perhaps maybe you could even print it out or something. I'm sure Andrew probably has something like that. But anyways, guys, thank you very much. Have a good day, and we will talk to you next time.